All right. So I hope you guys are watching. I'm now on Zoom. I'm not sure who's following on Facebook. Hi, happy Friday. We made it a new week, another new week. We almost done with it. So come join me.
Friday, we made it a new week, another new week. We almost done with it. So come join me. We made it a new week, another new week. We almost done with it.
I just think if anybody was on Facebook, join me, and you can join on Zoom as well. So without let me just get to it so we can get started. As you join, I appreciate, and I hope you also get to watch this video if you are not able to join live. So first of all, I wanted to provide some updates, new updates that have come up the last 2 weeks since I was on live chat with you, on live video with you. So the first one is about DACA. I'm sure everybody knows DACA now because it's always on the news. There's always changes. There are so many forces putting DACA program apart, or some forces trying to keep it going. So in this last week, or actually maybe the week before, a federal judge here in Texas, here you go Texas, huh? No, 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 go Texas. So yeah, a federal judge in Texas, in Brownsville, Texas, declared DACA unlawful for new applications. So the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which was allowing some individuals to obtain a deferred action or in a work authorization, has been halted again, but this time it's for new applications. So after the Supreme Court has said DACA can continue, it's up to the Congress to make a law into a law, and the Supreme Court has refused to take a stand on DACA because it's a program that has benefited more than 800,000 people, and right now with this, after the Supreme Court and after the Biden administration has let new applications come in, it's a lot of applications already that have been filed. I believe it's more than 600,000 new applications. So now this new ruling from a federal court, a federal district court, has stopped the new program or the applications for new DACA applicants. So, which means that those who have already filed for DACA is an initial application. Now, those applications are put on hold because once a district court judge decides that I guess this is a practice or an executive action is unlawful, then the administration has to put a pause on these new applications until they're able to follow the lawsuit again in the court system, and hopefully to be able to reverse that ruling of the federal district judge. And the Biden administration, through the Attorney General, has announced that they will appeal that decision of the lower district court judge. But for that, until today, I mean, from the date of that decision was made by that judge, those applications that have been filed will remain, I guess, in abeyance, pending. No action is going to be taken by the administration, and no new applications will be accepted. But it's very sad because actually there was a testimony in the news of someone who said they missed paying rent so they can find the application fees and the attorney fees to be able to apply for this new program. I mean, this is not a new program, like, the new, I guess after the Supreme Court, it was not a new program. It was more of, okay, now you can go ahead and file a new application. So now they have to pay the filing fees. Even these applications, even they cost. Each application you have to pay. You pay for the DACA itself, and then you pay for the work authorization. And if you are assisted by an attorney, you also pay the attorney. So it's a lot of money that people have paid, and it's the government. I don't think the government will refund it. So now they have to wait until either the Congress finally acts and make DACA, like, a law, so that no court or no administration can come and take it away, put a pause on it. But until then, we will go back and forth, really playing with people's lives, because they are left in limbo in between all these different branches of the government, the judiciary, the executive, and now the private, I guess, who don't even have stakes in the matter, but they can sue. And what it takes is one judge to agree with whoever files the lawsuit for that law or for that program to be halted until the Congress is able to enact the law that will protect the dreamers. Then this will continue, and unfortunately, individuals will continue to suffer through this whole fight against and for DACA. For some reason, it's getting dark here. Anyways, so, and then another update I wanted to provide, which is good news, this one. So for F1 students, someone who's changed status to a student visa from a visitor's visa. Now, as of since July 20th, 2021, there was a requirement that until you obtain your change of status to the student visa status, you were supposed to keep extending your visitor status. It was called a gap extension until you are able to obtain your change in status to F1 student. So that requirement has been lifted since July 2021. This was really burdensome for so many, because as we discussed before, all the petitions or all the applications they are delayed. Delays, COVID has added to it, but delays have always been in all the applications. So, which means someone who was waiting for their student extension of status to be approved, they were supposed to keep up even extending the B visa, which is a visitor status, in parallel to waiting to the F1 status to be approved. So that requirement is no longer, and actually that requirement made so many F1 student extension of status, or actually change of status, denied for people who did not keep up with their visitor status. So from the July 20th, that requirement is no longer a requirement, which actually we have seen that cases that have been denied because of lack of continuing to extend the visitor status while the F1 change of status is pending are being reopened. That's a good news, because so many people will refuse to change status to a student visa, especially now in COVID. If you come in the US as a visitor and then find a school, then you file for a change of status, because you couldn't even travel back to your country, given the COVID situation. So you were supposed to keep extending status and then keep waiting on your F1 status to be approved. So that was really it wasn't a good way to allow people to change status and to become students, or to have chances to continue, to stay here on a student visa. So in another update I wanted to provide is about TPS. TPS now some 5 TPS applicants from five different countries will be able to apply online for their TPS application, initial application, or TPS extension applications, like people from Venezuela, Yemen, Somalia, I think Syria, and one country, I don't remember, but that's Somalia too, 5. So they will be able to apply online, which is, it's quicker, and you don't have to wait in the mail for the receipt notice. You can just apply online. So it has been made easier. And also TPS has been extended for Somalia. And I think last week TPS was extended for Yemen. So those are the new updates I wanted to provide. I think there are more updates to provide on the court side, but we will have a special program for the how does filing a case in an immigration court go? Like, what does it look like when you have a case pending with an immigration judge? I think that deserves its own presentation with PowerPoint slides, so you can, sometimes maybe I may not be able to explain very well, but if you have a PowerPoint slide presentation, you can read as I talk, so speaking of which, now I'm going to share my screen so we can follow along together when I give presentation on the International Entrepreneur Parole program. Okay, so let me do that. And I hope people are following. Okay. All right, I'm trying to do that. Okay, share. Oh yeah, it's right here, share. Okay, so I'm gonna share now. Let me get to my slide. It's already open. I just need to put it up. Right. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen so I can have the PowerPoint presentation here. It's uploading, downloading. It's downloading. Anyways, hi. So I hope you guys are following with me. Okay, so let me. Let's do that. All right, so this is well, the date is wrong, sorry, but here's our address, office address, and contact information in case you want to contact us. We are based in Houston, Texas. Here's our phone number and our email in case you want to contact us. We also have our website, the same, gasanalaw.com. All this information, we have different articles. We try to keep up to date with the important, pertinent information, updates from immigration, new laws, new regulations, new practices, and we try to post the articles online. Right now, we are working. I'm working on providing some tips on asylum case. Like, I think that's gonna be one of our presentations in the future because of the mistakes sometimes asylum applicants make, and then it's almost impossible to reverse or to bring back their case on the right track. But today we are talking about the International Entrepreneur Parole role or program. So what is the International Entrepreneur Parole program? So back in 2017, actually, before the Obama left, I guess, the office, he published this rule to which for the purpose of which was to improve the ability of promising startup founders to begin growing their companies within the United States. So the International Entrepreneur Parole, which we call IEP because it's a long name. So the IEP was supposed to help the entrepreneurs, the startup, the innovators to be able to have their company or to have their endeavor realized in the United States. For those who did not have any other other ways, other options, especially students who come here. We have heard how the students come here to gain knowledge and they have skills. But then after the end of their 4-year program of 5 years, if they go to graduate school or 6-year program, and they have learned a lot in the US, and they may have some project, they may have some research, they may have some innovative ideas, or in the tech world, some discovery and technology that they wish if they had time, if they had work authorization to realize in the US. And they do even have companies that wishes to fund their research, to fund their innovation, to fund their technology, but they don't have any legal status to work, to stay here and maintain and continue that endeavor. So then because we only have really the common work visa that's available in the United States. It's called H-1B. And that only allows a total of 85,000 individuals per year. And to put into perspective, each year USCIS receives at least more than 200,000 applications for H-1B, and they have to really pick. They have to have a lottery selection system to pick who gets to have one of the 85,000 visas. So you can imagine the remaining out of the 85,000, they will be rejected. So that means those are more than 100,000 skilled workers, geniuses, young and old entrepreneurs, scientists, engineers, tech, IT, in all areas of fields of really entrepreneurship. They are left without any option. So what happens is they leave and go to other countries, such as Canada, such as China, such as other really competitive countries to the United States. So before President Obama left the office, his team, through lobbying, thought of this parole. So, and then when the last administration came in, this parole program was put on pause. So was struck down, no more. So now, but then 4 years later, we have a new administration, and this program has been resumed. So what is it about, and who does it benefit, and how one applies for it? So the initial parole, it's not, there's a reason why it's called parole and not a visa or not a status. It's parole means it's a temporary admission. It's like a deferred action sort of it's a quasi status. It does not confer admission to the United States. It does not confer path to a green card or citizenship. It's a temporary permission to be in the United States for 30 months so that you can realize your project if you qualify. So it's initially given for 30 months with one possibility of renewing. So which is a total of 60 months, meaning five years. So each foreign startup is a company. You can apply for up to 3 entrepreneurs in parole status. So let's say you have a startup company and you wish to employ 3 different people in this endeavor, then you only allow up to 3. So spouses and children are eligible for parole as well. So if your person is married and they have children under the age of 21, they get to stay here as well, while you are also allowed to stay. So yeah, so who is eligible? So it's a company, right? So startup company has to have been created within the past 5 years. It has to be a relatively new enterprise that it has only been I guess in effect or created within the last 5 years. So it could be a new company or an existing company, as long as it hasn't been in existence for more than 5 years. So, and then that company must receive a capital investment from a well-established U.S. investors for at least $250,000, or receive a government grant from, it could be government meaning a federal government, state, municipality, as long as a government grant or award of at least $100,000. So, you know, there are some exceptions, like, okay, like a company, an enterprise can receive partly the investment from a qualified investor and some from the government. So it's not like, okay, you have to show 250 or 100 or 100,000. It could be a combination of both. It could be a part of the investment, and also then show how the other investment will be provided. So there are some exceptions, but this is the this is really how you work, the investment that the startup company must obtain. So what does it mean, a well-established so first of all, it's a startup company, but the applicant is a person. So the U.S. entity is a U.S. entity, so it could exist without a visa. It's a company. It's a company. It's not a person. But so that company is applying for an applicant. They could say it could apply for up to 3 foreign nationals. So who qualifies to be the applicant? So the applicant or the beneficiary of the international parole must have at least 10% ownership in the startup company, or have a central and active role in the startup company. So basically, the applicant must be well positioned to substantially assist with the growth and success of the company. So most of the time, you know, you open a startup company, but the individual behind the company, or, you know, the idea, of course, will be the applicant, because that was the purpose. Because, you know, individuals with these ideas, these innovative ideas, or technology, or business, you name it, then they are able to create companies and have some type of ownership or a central role to justify when you want to apply for this IEP. All right, so now who is a qualified investor? Here is where we actually, personally, I was a little disappointed because guess what? The applicant or the foreign national that is not qualified as the investor. So basically, if you have, I was thinking, okay, because we get individuals who really have funds, they have money, and they have discovered an area of investment, or a field of investment, they are able to invest, but then there's no visa available, or the other options are almost impossible to get, or they are difficult to obtain. So I thought this was going to be one of the other options, that an individual with such a idea, with such a investment innovative project could also qualify if they do have the investment, if they do have the funds. So the applicant or the foreign national does not qualify as the investor. So they have to find, that startup company has to find an individual or an organization to be a qualified investor. That individual cannot never be the applicant's spouse, parent, or sibling. It has to be someone else, and that person has to be a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. So, and if it's an organization or an individual who's providing such investment, they have to show a record of success in, it's like a venture capital type of organizations that are qualified to become investors in this IEP program. So the individual or organization must have made investment in startup entities in exchange for equity or convertible debt, or for no less than 600,000. So basically they come, the venture capital, the investor, if it's a private entity, has to show 600,000 of equity. And so, and then they have to show a record of success in the past. You can't just, you can't just show a random company that calls itself a venture capital organization. No, you have to show some type of record. They have to show they at least have invested in at least 2 entities, similar entities, or created at least 5 qualified jobs, or generated at least 500,000 revenue with average annualized revenue growth for at least 20%. So they have to really show the investor. So when you apply for this program, you have to say, okay, you have to identify your investor. In addition to identify your investor, you will have to show what is the record of success of that investor. How many does this investor usually sponsor other, or invest in other entities, and what has been the record of success of such entities? How many jobs were created by such entities? How much revenue was created by such entities? So and then you have there's a threshold of $500,000, which means like really this is not accessible to small businesses, as you may imagine. So yeah, so that's why I was disappointed by this program. I guess this was, in my opinion, it's more for this Silicon Valley type of project and startups, not your average, say, small business entrepreneurs who could lift up the community as well, because you don't really need to make a 500,000 to affect or to impact a community, or to actually or to provide innovation in the United States. But anyway, those are my comments. So like I said in the beginning, the entrepreneur parole does not constitute admission or non-immigrant status. So it doesn't give you a status. It's just a temporary permission to be here for 30 months, to realize what you need to realize once you have obtained the investment. So they are not eligible to change status, or adjust status. So they may qualify for an O1 visa, which we may discuss in the future, because they are different. And also, last time we spoke about the national interest waiver. They may qualify for national interest waiver or EB1 based on all that, the record or the investment, or even being qualified to obtain a grant or such investment, and how successful their business or their startup become. They may qualify for another type of non-immigrant or lawful permanent resident status via national interest waiver category, or even the EB1 category that we will discuss along with the O1 in the future. But they will not able to adjust status. So they will, what happen will be they will file for such petition after 30 months or after 5 years, because this program is only valid for 30 initially for 30 months, which is 2.5 years, and then with the possibility to renew up to another 30 months. After 5 months, they may be eligible for some other visa or even a green card, but they will have to constant process, meaning they have to leave the US and obtain the visa abroad. But so it's we will discuss the green card or any petition. There's 2 steps. Or the first step may be completed when they are here in the US, but the actual step of obtaining either a non-immigrant visa or a legal permanent resident visa will have to be done outside of the US, because they were not admitted in the US in any status. They are just here as on parole. So now, so how do you apply? So that's a $1 million question. Not really, but yeah, that's good to know. Like if you really have, if you happen to have 500, or if you happen to have 250,000 investment from a big organization like a venture capital with a successful record of investment in entities that grew jobs and made the 500,000 revenue, or you are lucky to obtain a government grant, which I think obtaining a government grant might be easier, especially for scientists or researchers, than really having a private entity trust you to give you such a lot of that, such amount of money, or invest in that's able to show a success record. So how do you apply if you are lucky enough to have an investor push you or fund your startup? Right. So you file a form, all the applications, all immigration applications, you file forms. So you file form I-941, application for entrepreneur parole. The filing fee is $1,200. Nothing's cheap in the immigration. As I spoke before, USCIS is one of the few government agencies that are self-funded. They don't really need funds from the federal government. They are self-funded. All these applications, all these petitions, none of them cost little. If anything, the filing fees increase every few years, and shortly we will see another increase again as the inflation, the federal inflation. That's what they say. But I think some applications, the fees are too ridiculous. So the I-941, that's the form, and the filing fee is $1,200, and then there's a biometric fee which is an additional $85,000, for your fingerprints for background check. So after this form is approved, so now we don't know how long it's going to take, because this is a new program. Even in the stakeholder meetings we have held with USCIS, USCIS hasn't been able to provide an answer, an estimate. Okay, this will take a few months, or take 6 months, or 7, or a year, like most of the other applications are taking right now. So but once it's approved, the applicant must visit a US consulate abroad to obtain a travel documentation. So there won't be any stamp in your passport, but you will have there won't be a visa. Like when you get a petition approved, you go to the embassy and they will stamp a visa, because that will be a status. So you obtain a travel documentation. So when the applicant travels to the US at the port of entry, so, with the exception of the Canadian citizens they don't need to apply for any visa anyway, but they will still need to go to the I-941 will still need to be approved. And then you will go to the port of entry, which you will be paroled in. So you have a parole in your passport, in addition to your travel documentation. But to be able to travel, for those who are to be able to travel to the US, you have to show a travel document as opposed to a visa like you would when you are boarding a plane. So the spouse and children may file the form I-131, which is application for travel document. So that's also, it's not an easy, it's cost too. So the filing fee for this, for each application is $575, and there's a biometric fee, the background check fee for $85 per applicant, okay? So, right, so, this is how you would, if you, because the I-131, you have to choose what type of travel document you are seeking. So now it's going to, you have to write IER, or, oops, yeah, sorry, let me go back. You have to write IER in the margin, or IP, I'll have to check. So, yeah, so of course you have to show evidence that, okay, this is the spouse of the principal applicant or the child with birth certificate and marriage certificate. Next, so once this form is approved, then the spouse and children will be allowed in, and they can file for employment authorization, which is another filing fee. So the employment authorization for the spouse is a 500 or 410. I have to double. I think it's 410 plus the biometric fee, so it's 490. I think 95, yes. So it's a lot of fees involved. It's a lot of fees involved. But hey, if you are an entrepreneur and you have obtained that much funding, perhaps this won't be a burden. So the children they are not authorized to work, but they can go to school. So now what happens after 30 months? So we discussed that this program is valid for 30 months. So after 30 months, you cannot just apply to renew. You have to show evidence why they should give you an additional 30 months. So they have to continue to hold a 5% interest in the startup, and there's a typo here, and play an active role in its operation. So that's the requirement remains, but it goes down from 10% to 5%. So the startup company, you must show that you have at least 500,000 in annual revenues. So that's a lot of, it's, I don't know. I mean, if you have a startup company, if you have a business, you know how hard it is in the first years to even get started. So, but basically you really have to show this much. So you have to show 500,000 in annual revenues in those past 2 years, not the initial investment, but so your investment must have doubled. Excuse me. The funds you have received you must show that you have doubled them in revenues. So they have to show an average annualized growth of 20%, or that they have created 5 full-time jobs. I don't think you have to show all of the 3. You could show 1 or 2 of these. So I guess if you can say you have created 5 full-time jobs, then you may not need to show that you have increased 500,000 in annual revenues, or that you have an average annualized revenue growth of 20%. Right. So now I thank you for watching. So that was the program. Basically, in my humble opinion, I I really thought this was going to be a program that's going to be accessible to the average entrepreneur, to so many people who, especially who come here on student visa, and they acquire a lot of knowledge and skills, but then they are not able to continue to continue here. They leave, they go to other countries, and they apply those knowledge, they apply those skills. So this, for me, I think it was made for the Silicon Valley type of entrepreneurs, because it's almost, unless you are really lucky to obtain a government grant, because the government grant, the requirements are not as stringent as a private entity investor, like a venture capital investor type. So yeah, so now, if you, I really like to hear your feedback on these presentations we prepare. I hope that they do help you guys. That's why I would love for you to really subscribe and follow us on YouTube. We recently created a YouTube channel, which, like I said, this video is going to be cleaned up and posted on YouTube for anyone who was not able to follow. It will stay there for a long time. So, you may have a friend who's lucky to obtain this type of investment. Please let them follow on YouTube and learn more about this and say, does this qualify for you? We have other videos as well, and we continue to upload more videos on YouTube. So we have a LinkedIn on Claudine Gasana, Facebook, like, we are on live now, and we also have Instagram. So that's Claudine Gasana Official. So let me stop sharing the screen so we can kind of recap. So basically, I was speaking with them, and I want to check on Facebook if there's any questions, or I don't know, people are following. If anything, I need to repeat. So I think it's very important that every 2 weeks at least I come here and speak on a few updates and a few programs. Immigration law is very broad. It's a broad. Let me see. Let's see if there's anybody. I'm trying to see if you guys are following, because I was on. Very broad. It's a broad. Sorry, I don't want to hear myself. So I don't know if anybody's watching, but I do appreciate you watching. So, and I wanted to kind of recap. Basically, immigration law is a broad subject. It's evolving every day, and there's different areas. There are different areas of disciplines in immigration law. So, today I wanted to talk about the International Entrepreneur Parole, because I was a little disappointed, or maybe a lot disappointed, because like I said, I think it might be a program for the Silicon Valley type of startups, which is good for them, because we need them. We need that technology to remain here. But I do wish it was also, and I hope maybe once it's put in practice, because sometimes, as we know, when it comes to rules and laws, the law gives a framework, but the implementation, how the law is put into practice, then that's where so many questions arise and the answers are provided. So hopefully this program will be as they receive applications and USCIS, as they adjudicate, they will improve the program to fit different so many other people, and hopefully that, because we see different, not only the the tech industry. I think you can generate that much revenue. The tech industry can easily generate 500,000 in 2 years, because technology is like is the currency now that it's not gonna everyone needs it, and we are using it. We have embraced it. So, and it will continue to be embraced and to be improved. So, and the need is there, and the money will be there. But there are some areas such as research, and such as, or, you know, let's say environment, like somebody who's an environmentalist and who have idea of how to improve the environment. They need to do more research. They need to do more kind of social investment, not that revenues or growth in terms of revenues. So what about them? Because we also see that those type of individuals who have so many innovative ideas on how to improve our society, how to improve our environment, how to cure some diseases. So, and I hope those type of um, innovators, because innovation is not only money, technology. It's okay. What can I bring on the table to improve an area or to provide new solutions to some problems? And we do have a lot of problems when it comes to even health, when it comes to environment, when it comes to social sciences. So what about those? And I hope the component of the government grant will apply. I hope they will obtain government grants, so they can also realize that idea or that research or discovery uh, to for the benefit of all, for the benefit of the community, of the city, the state, and the country, not just the money that's going to go in the bank of a venture capital company. So those are my 2 cents on this International Entrepreneur Parole. And thank you for following along, and also those who did not follow, I hope you get to watch. And I would appreciate your feedback on what we do present to you. And if there are any other subjects that you would like to discuss, I know some people ask me to speak in other languages like Kinyarwanda or French. I'll be happy to, but I speak English because it's like almost a common. Most people who speak French, who are interested in the United States, they also speak English. But if there's a particular topic that I would like to, you would like me to address, and in another language, in Kinyarwanda or in French, I'll be happy to. So just say, you can text, you can follow, or you can comment, and I'll be happy to do that. So, and I hope you guys have a good weekend, and stay safe and healthy, and be blessed. We talk to you soon. Make sure again to follow us, Law Office of Claudine Gasana, on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and check our website. We have so many resources for you to go through. There's a blog section. There are practice areas that like what type of services we provide. So make sure to check that. All right. Have a good one now. Bye. Okay,